This is why Watkins Glen is hands down the best road course race on the schedule. I mean, I would say Coda is definitely up there, but we only had 2 races there. Road America is gone. Sonoma, mediocre. Charlotte Roval, it's good, but the viewership is not really that good. So many things about Watkins Glen, and this was our first rain race at Watkins Glen in the Cup Series with Kimi Räikkönen. A lot of drivers. We have a lot to talk about. Hey guys, NASCAR Mobile 48 back again. Welcome back to another episode of NRR. In today's video, we're going to be reviewing the 2022 Go Bowling at the Glen. I don't know, like 220 or well, I don't know how many miles this race was, 90 laps, whatever, from the Glen. What a race it was. What a race indeed. First of all, we have 7 different nations competing in today's race. We have Great Britain, we have Germany, we have the Netherlands, we have Mexico, America, Finland, and I'm missing a country. But we had 7 different nations competing. It was a rain race to start off this weekend, or just to start off the day at Watkins Glen. First rain race at Watkins Glen for the Cup Series. We've had one for the Xfinity Series back in 2018 where Joey Logano got that win. Just what a day overall. But before I talk about anything racing, I just want to thank you guys so much for 200 subs. We finally hit that mark. It's been a long time coming. We hit 100 subs, I believe, in back like 2018, and it's just been hard to grow up upon that after NASCAR RaceView Mobile went out of business, or just the app just closed down after 2019. So it was just hard trying to do something else about the races, and I decided to talk about them. And it hasn't really been doing as much as the RaceView Mobile, but hey, I still appreciate you guys for sticking by, enjoying, checking out the videos. I do really appreciate you guys. You guys are the best, and I can't ask for anything more. 200 subs, it's not a lot compared to like some other YouTubers who make 1,000 or maybe 50,000 subs, but 200 subs still is a really cool milestone to hit for a channel that's not really planning to be that big, but just wants to make it like, you know, like a little small little hangout hobby thing to do. So I do really appreciate you guys so much for that. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive on into this review. So we're going to be looking at our top 10 finishes. We're going to rate the race, talk about the biggest story of the race that happened in the last restart. Then we're going to look at our drivers of the day, and then finally we will be looking at the playoff cut line one more time, because this is the penultimate race of the regular season. Next week is the final race of the regular season. So let's go ahead and dive on into this review. Finishing first was Kyle Larson. What a day for Kyle Larson it was. I mean, just hands down a really good performance by him and his teammate Chase Elliott. He overall gets the win at Watkins Glen. He's now won at the Glen 2 years in a row now, just like Chase Elliott did back in 2018, 2019. This is his 4th road course win, his 2nd at the Glen. He sweeps the weekend, which is actually the first time Kyle Larson has swept the weekend in Xfinity and Cup since Auto Club back in 2017 when he was driving for CGR. And in that race, he got his 2nd career win, compared to now his 18th career win and his 2nd win of the 2022 season. Will we say Kyle Larson is officially back? I would kind of say so. I was kind of debating on should I pick Larson or Elliott to get the win. I picked Chase Elliott because Elliott was definitely on a bit more of a hot streak than Kyle Larson was. It's been a while since Larson's won, since the 2nd race of the season. But hey, Larson, I probably could say is officially back. But this is just a road course. We haven't seen him do that well on the ovals as of recent, but we could still see some progression. This could be a little bit of momentum for the 5 team. But what a race it was able to start 2nd right next to his teammate. And then later in the race, Kyle Larson, he was kind of a bit up and down. I mean, I believe at one point early in the race, he kind of missed the bus stop at one point, and so, that kind of sucked at first. But then later in the final stage, him and Elliott were going at it, reminiscent of 2021, where both of them were going at it, and then later in that race, it was just him and Elliott going at it on the restarts, and then officially on one restart, Elliott lost spots on the restart after Larson kind of locked it up into turn 1, kind of made contact with Chase Elliott. Larson was back in front, and he was being hunted by Almondinger, but Larson was able to hang on and get the win. So really good by Kyle Larson, the 5 team. We're going to see a little bit of a conversation at Hendrick Motorsports about that one. Literally, every time Kyle Larson has won in the Cup Series this year, he's had to make contact with Chase Elliott. Literally, it makes no sense. But overall, great weekend for the 5 team. Can we say they're back going into the playoffs? Maybe. Finishing in runner-up position was AJ Allmendinger, who gets his best finish of the season. His best finish before coming into this race was 7th at the Brickyard a couple weeks ago, and now gets a second place finish here at the Glen. It started out pretty well for Almondinger because racing in the rain, that's kind of his thing here and there. But then at one point early in the race, Cindric locked it up and took out Almondinger. Almondinger and Chris Rice, they were not happy over the radio, and so I don't know if we'll see some future confrontation because those Cindric and Almondinger have a bit of history going back to the Daytona Road Course in 2021 in the Xfinity Series, so may have to talk about that a little bit. But Almondinger was basically just trying to climb his way up throughout the field, and officially he got back into the top 10 in the midst of stage 3, and then he got back into the top 5 just like him and Tyler Reddick after one restart. And then Almondinger had a bit of help with Kyle Larson, almost was able to take the win away from the 5 car, just was not enough because Kyle Larson, he's a bit of a road course ringer himself. 4 road course wins compared to Almondinger, who only has 2 in the Cup Series but has like 8 in the Xfinity Series. So Almondinger just was not enough. But hey, that's what happens when you challenge another driver who's got more road course wins in the Cup Series than you and is actually looking pretty well. But not a bad finish for the 16 car, still trying to get a win on a road course. They have one more try at the Charlotte Roval, but still a pretty good day and a good comeback for the 16 team. Finishing in third was Joey Logano. What's with Joey Logano getting these good finishes now? I mean, this is 4 straight top 10 finishes for him, so he's on a bit of a hot streak, but I'm talking about road courses. Literally, he finished 6th at the Brickyard. That one was undeserving, but here at the Glen, I don't know where that came from, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He did win the Watkins Glen race back in 2015, well, mostly because Kevin Harvick ran out of fuel in the final corner, but he did win the 2018 race in the Xfinity Series that had a little bit of rain, so I can't really discredit Joey Logano a whole lot on the road courses. Just what a really good day, I'd have to say, for him overall. He was able to get the win in stage 2, because stage 2 is where he started to really shine. He was up there running up front with Todd Gillen and Kyle Busch, and he was looking really strong. Then he kind of fell back here and there a little bit, but was still able to rebound and get a nice solid top 5 finish. So really good momentum for Joey Logano heading into the playoffs. Let's see if he can get another top 10 at Daytona. Finishing in 4th was Chase Elliott. It just sucks for Chase Elliott. The pole sitter kind of making a little bit of contact with his teammate Kyle Larson. It wasn't as bad in my opinion as Auto Club, but still has to be a little bit disappointing for the 9 team overall. But Chase Elliott definitely was class of the field. You just have to say that this shows you why he's a road course ringer. If he would have won today, he would have tied Tony Stewart with the 2nd most wins on a road course in the Cup Series, but just wasn't meant to be. He still has another shot at the Roval, definitely one of his best road course racetracks, but just he just didn't have it and stuff, so I kind of do feel bad for Chase Elliott. But it was just all about strategy in stage 1. Chase Elliott was up there, but just wasn't as good as like Briscoe and Michael McDowell. Stage 2, Chase Elliott was starting to come back into the front after that one incident with Kimi Räikkönen, and then later it was just him versus Larson, and then I talked about the restart. After what Hezemans got stuck in the sand trap, that was the caution Elliott did not want to see with about 8 laps to go, and then Elliott lost spots on the restart after a bit of contact with Larson, and Larson obviously took off. Elliott was still able to hang on to get a top 5 finish, which isn't bad. I thought he was going to plummet a bit further, but top 5 is the top 5, but for Chase Elliott could have been a whole lot better, so a bit disappointing for the 19. We'll speak on them a little bit later throughout the show. And rounding out the top 5 and 5th was Daniel Schwarz. A nice solid weekend for Daniel Schwarz. This is his first top 5 since Pocono, where he finished 3rd. Just a nice solid weekend for them, because last year I remember on the road courses, and especially throughout the summer, Schwarz just, he wasn't it. It was not it for that 99 team, but they definitely turned it around when he got his win at Sonoma, and he's been really competitive at the road courses this season. A nice solid 9th place qualifying session, and was able to get a nice solid top 5 finish. Almost had Chase Elliott for 4th place, but Elliott, you know, he's a bit better than Daniel Schwarz. But Schwarz still had a nice weekend, even though his other 2 teammates did not. Chastain had a couple incidents today, kind of spun out twice, and then, yeah, finished like, what, 21st, something like that. And Raikkonen DNF, we already saw he had a little bit of contact from Hezemans, who kind of got jumped a little bit jittered when Austin Dillon spun around, exiting the bus stop. So that does suck for those 2 Trackhouse cars, but Schwarz still able to get a top 5, not bad. Finishing 6th today was Michael Mcdowell. What a weekend it was for Michael Mcdowell. First of all, I just want to point out 3 top 10 finishes in the last 5 races, especially when the last 2 races were 28th and 29th at Michigan and Richmond. This just shows you the diversity of tracks it can be for Michael Mcdowell. 6th at Pocono, 8th at the Brickyard, and 6th today here at the Glen. Qualified 3rd, had a really good effort. He went to the lead almost immediately once they were on the rain tires, and we had some drivers switching to slicks, and it was really cool to see him and Todd Gillen running up in the top 3 early in the race, so that was really cool to see. Also, he had a bit of a battle with Briscoe for the potential race lead, with Busher lurking just right behind them, but Briscoe went on to win the stage. Mcdowell was still running really well at one point, and then at the beginning of stage 3, it was a crazy restart. Mcdowell was able to get to the lead, and then eventually started to lose it a little bit, so that kind of sucked. He was able to hang on and be able to be a competitor later in the race. Just imagine if it was raining throughout the entire race. We could be seeing a different finish at this point, but a nice solid weekend for the 34 team. Can't be disappointed. They have one more shot to make the playoffs, and that's next week at Daytona, so we'll see if they can get it done. It just depends. Daytona is a wild card race, and that's a perfect way to end off the regular season going into the playoffs. But just imagine Michael Mcdowell had a little bit better equipment than front row, just to be a really good, solid competitor week in, week out, and go for a win here or there at the road courses especially. But hey, in this equipment, he done a really good job. Top 10 cannot be disappointed. Finishing 7th was Tyler Reddick, and just like Almondinger, what a race it was for Tyler Reddick. But first off, just want to point out, started 5th in this race. He was looking really, really, really well, and then earlier in the race, he missed the entry as he was fighting with Briscoe, Mcdowell, and Chris Buescher, so that was kind of disappointing. But him and Mcdowell were definitely going at it right before the strategy of some other drivers deciding to pit for slick tires, and then I believe later in the race at one point in stage 2, Reddick and Rockefeller made a bit of contact and they both spun out. So I don't know if Reddick was happy about that. And the Reddick, I think, had another incident, and he was calling out his crew chief over the radio saying like bad strategy, and he was upset, ruined their race. He was saying all of that. So that was disappointing. I did kind of feel bad for Reddick, but somehow, some way, with the last couple of crazy restarts, he was able to jump all the way up into 7th place. Top 10, you cannot be disappointed with that after having the crazy race Reddick's had all day. So a nice solid finish for the 18. Finishing in 8th was the best Toyota by far, and the only one in the top 15 was Christopher Bell. Just what a weekend for them as well. This is, well, I just want to say that's 2 straight top 10 finishes for them. Actually, that is now 4 top 10s in the last 6 races, so they have a little bit of momentum on their side, but it did not go off to a great start when he blew a motor in practice this weekend and had to start at the back in 38th, which was dead last, and then he just climbed his way throughout the field. You just have to give a hand to Christopher Bell. I mean, literally last year at Watkins Glen, he was a really serious competitor, definitely one of the best Toyotas out there. Then he kind of got taken out by Kyle Larson and that whole drama and stuff. But then Bell, I don't know what else to say, was able to climb his way throughout the field. At one point when I saw him in the top 5, I was just so confused, like, how was he in the top 5, and how was Denny Hamlin a lap down, and Trek struggling, Kyle Busch, and blah, 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 blah. But still, a really good comeback effort for Christopher Bell after blowing a motor in practice and able to get a nice solid top 10 finish just to end the weekend. Finishing in 9th was Chris Buescher. That's now 3 top 10s in the last 4 races, so they do have a little bit of momentum, but now it just all comes down to Daytona to see if they can do it. They finished 2nd there technically last year, but then they had a disqualification, so they were out of that one. But he was really close last year in that Daytona race. Let's see if he can have another good run like he did last year. He wasn't as good today as like Michael Mcdowell was earlier in this race, but he was still able to get a nice solid top 10. It just really, really mattered the most when it came down to that Richmond race. Just wasn't able to close the deal trying to hunt down Kevin Harvick. So not a bad effort by Chris Buescher. It just comes down to Daytona. And rounding out the top 10 and 10th is Erik Jones. Early in the race, I was so shocked to see Erik Jones make a move on Austin Cindric. Literally. But Eric Jones, I believe he also started towards the back. I don't think he had a good qualifying session. He started P31 and was able to get a nice solid 10th place finish at the end of the day. So that is 3 top 10s in the last 5 races. So this team's also on a bit of a roll. But just like what I said with McDowell and Chris Buescher, it's all up to Daytona for Eric Jones. He's really good at super speedways. He won the Summer Daytona race back in 2018. So he has some super speedway experience. He almost won at Talladega earlier this year. So Eric Jones, I don't know if he has a better shot than McDowell or Buescher, because it's a complete wild card. Anything can happen. He could literally wreck on lap 1 or blow a motor on the final lap. I don't know. Something can happen, but it all comes down to the wire next week. And now let's rate this race. This was definitely one of the best Watkins Glen races I've seen in years past, but I won't discredit any of the past years of Watkins Glen races because they've been pretty spectacular in my opinion. Probably the most Watkins Glen race that was lackluster to me was probably 2017, because literally Triggs dominated the whole damn race. So yeah, but 2019 was also really good because we had so much drama going on, and Chase Elliott versus Triggs for the 2nd year in a row. That was really cool to watch. And it was also kind of like this year, we had Elliott versus Larson last year, and them going at it again 2nd year in a row. So those two were definitely also some good races, but I have to put this one on top. So if I had to rate this race out of 10, spectacular racing, definitely see why people say this is the best road course in NASCAR, period. So I'm gonna rate it a solid 9.5 out of 10. I just really wish we didn't have like those kinds of cautions happening late in the race. I mean, they were pretty dramatic, I have to admit. So I did like the restarts, but I just wanted to see like the green flag go through. I wanted to see if Larson would actually catch Chase Elliott, but it was kind of hard to see because both of them were pretty even, no doubt. But I give it a 9.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys would give it in the comment section below. And now, the biggest story of the race, we're going to talk about this a little bit, the Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson thing. Don't worry, I won't make this like a little skit Fox did earlier this year in the desert, just blah. I don't want to even get over it, talk about Fox. NBC, hands down, so much better. But anyway, I mean, it's not as bad as it was in Auto Club, where Larson clearly made a dumb mistake. Him and his spotter made a dumb mistake. Larson just kind of overcooked it a little bit, made a bit of contact with Chase Elliott. And there's the thing about racing against your teammates. I mean, you expect them to race them cleaner than your non-teammates who are also racing out there on the track, but you can't always expect to be race clean all the time and stuff. Eventually you're going to make a mistake. Eventually you're just going to be a little bit over aggressive, kind of asking for a bit too much. And I was kind of curious, like thinking, why is Chase Elliott picking the outside line? I personally go to the inside. So he kind of gave that up to Kyle Larson, but I don't know. Maybe because he thought he could get out wide and just swoop in and take the lead away from Kyle Larson if Larson did have the advantage, which he kind of did. But I don't know. It's just really hard to say, but I'm not going to discredit Chase Elliott by complaining or anything. Elliott just said, like, oh, congrats to Kyle Larson, and of course they'll have a discussion after this one. I'm pretty sure it won't be as heated as Auto Club, but they'll definitely have a discussion about how that one ended. But Elliott wasn't really that mad, but in his interview, it kind of sounded like sarcasm a little bit, so I'll have to admit, but it wasn't terrible. So it's just a little bit over-aggressive racing, a little bit, but it's kind of what you gotta do, I think, because Larson, I bet Larson even knew Chase Elliott was the better driver in the race, hands down, and just had to do something to be able to get past him. So, I don't know, it's just hard to say at the end of the day, but at least it wasn't as bad as Auto Club. But it's weird, Larson had every win this season in the Cup Series. He's had to have made some contact with the teammate, Chase Elliott. It's just, oh boy. Well, at least NBC won't make this into a skit going into Daytona, but Fox would. But whatever, that's just my take on it. So to start off with Unlucky Driver of the Day, I gotta give it to my boy Ty Gillen. This guy has shown to me that he can compete, especially at the road courses. And I have to admit, he's starting to show as a little bit of a road course ringer himself, because you got to think back to Coda last year in the trucks. He won that race, so he can have some speed on these road courses, and he was really good at the Indy road course, finished 4th there. Could have had an even better finish today. Just I don't know, I believe once he got passed by Logano and going down heading into turn 6, he had some rear end issue or rear axle break. It was just a bit heartbreaking, because it was so cool to see him and Michael McDowell running up in the top 3 in stage 1. Just to see FRM just having both of their cars in the top 5, top 3 just like that. it all just came to heartbreak like that. So it does suck for Todd Gillen. Just, man, imagine just like him and Michael Mcdowell in better equipment than FRM on a road course. Those two definitely would be contending for the race win at the end of the day. But hey, you got to do what you got to do with what equipment you have. For Underdog Driver of the Day, really, this is probably the most impressive road course race I've seen by Michael McDowell in my eyes, because this guy was leading laps. It just shows to you that he is good, especially in the rain. Just imagine if it kept raining throughout the entire race, he most likely could have won this thing. I mean, I won't lie, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson, they weren't really doing as good as they were later in the race than they were earlier. Earlier, they were just running like top 5, top 10, which isn't bad, but they weren't up racing for the lead in the rain. So that shows that Michael McDowell had the speed. And then same thing with Chase Briscoe, but he was under the hood at one point. Have some incident with Chastain. He spun out. I don't know, Briscoe had his issues, but McDowell, what an impressive run by him. Led so many laps today. I just really wish he could have gotten a better finisher, possibly even a win, but top 10's a top 10. They still have one more chance at Daytona. Now, for Comeback Driver of the Day, it's hard to say. I was going to say like an Almondinger or Tyler Reddick, because they both had their issues earlier in the race and were both able to come back and get a top 10. But you cannot beat Christopher Bell, especially when you blow a motor. Then you have to start at the rear just to replace that one. I mean, Kyle Busch had to do the same thing, but he didn't blow it during practice. And then you go from 38th to 7th. Or, no, 8th in this race. 38th to 8th. Look at Christopher Bell like that. And I know it's like 90 laps at the Glen, so that's kind of a bit more time, because Watkins Glen's kind of like the shortest road course we have on the schedule. But just what an impressive run by Christopher Bell. And he was the best finishing Toyota today. Literally, behind him as the second best finishing Toyota today was Denny Hamlin in 20th, and he was a lap down earlier in this race. What is going on with Toyota on the road courses? Literally, Truex sucked so bad. I'm pretty sure the gap between him and Blaney extended a bit more. Kyle Busch was running pretty well, but then he kind of had his incidents. He hit the wall a little bit earlier in the race. Ty Gibbs was non-existent. Bubba Wallace apparently had some suspension issue. Bell finished good, and then who else am I missing? I think that's it. Bell, what an impressive run. Definitely comeback driver of the day. And then finally, I think hands down, overall driver of the day was Chase Elliott. I feel like Chase Elliott was the driver to beat, because last year I think we've had things swap. I think last year Larson was the guy to beat. Chase Elliott was trying to hunt him down just a little bit too late. Larson got the win. I think this year it switched. Elliott was the driver to beat. Larson was trying to hunt him down, and then thanks to those cautions coming out and Larson making that little bit tad aggressive move, was able to get by him, and then bam, took the win away from the 9 team. Like I said earlier, bit disappointing, but you can't always race clean with your teammates. That's just not going to happen. You cannot guarantee that all the time. But still, Chase Elliott was definitely class of the field all day. This is definitely one of his tracks. It really would have been cool if he got win number 8 on a road course, but he still has the Roval to wait for. Okay, guys, this is the last time we look at the playoff standings before we announce our top 16 playoff drivers. So this is the playoff standings after Watkins Glen, going into the final race of the regular season at Daytona. First off, we have our main guy, Chase Elliott, who has already secured and won the regular season championship. He has his 4 wins. Then the driver with 2 wins, we have Chastain, Logano, Larson, Byron, Hamlin, and Tyler Reddick, and Kevin Harvick, all with their 2 wins. And then over here, you have Briscoe and Bell, Schwarz, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, and Cindric, meaning Kurt Busch is officially locked into the playoffs. But will that mean he will compete in the playoffs? We will see, because he announced already that he will not compete in Watkins Glen today and at Daytona next week. So we hope that he will be back ready for Darlington to open up the playoffs. But now looking right here, we have Blaney plus 25 and then Truex minus 25. So basically, if you're 18th, 19th, 20th, if you're those drivers, you have to win at Daytona. It does not matter. It is still a points battle between Blaney and Truex Jr. Technically, it was 26 last week, so Truex did gain 1 point overall on Ryan Blaney. So they both sucked in this race, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. It's weird how in the last couple years when we've had, what's the battle going to be between these drivers to get into the playoffs? Because I think since 2020, when we've had Daytona as the last chance to make the playoffs, 2020 we've had Hendrick teammates going at it, Jimmy Johnson and William Byron, but we also had Matt DiBenedetto as well. And then last year we had the 2 RCR teammates between Reddick and Austin Dillon to see who would make it. This time we have Ford versus Toyota. Who's going to make it? And really, we could say it's the battle between consistent drivers in the points between Blaney and Truex, who are literally top 10 in points, both looking to probably miss out on the playoffs. Only one of them can get in. That's how it is. No other chances. Oh wow, what a shock this would be. To be honest, if Blaney doesn't make the playoffs, I won't be... I'll be kind of shocked, but I won't be as shocked as if Truex missed the playoffs. But that's my take on it. So who do you guys think will make it into the final 16? Who will be the final 16 driver to make it in? Will it be Blaney or Truex, or will it be a different driver or potential 16th winner? We will have to wait and see. But that's going to do it for today's video. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Want to check out my my gaming channel, NASCAR Gaming.28. Link will be down in the description below. I just uploaded an F1 video on that channel yesterday. So if you want to check that out, link in the description. Also, go subscribe, like, comment, do everything over there. 2 subs away from 100 subs over there. So guys, you made it to 200 over here, which I'm still really appreciative about. Now let's go turn up on the gaming channel, make it 100. Also want to check out my Instagram, link will also be down in the description, and subscribe to this channel. Like I said, I'm really appreciative of you guys for making 200 subs happening. It means a lot. I actually can't believe it. I really appreciate you guys and your support and the amount of subs coming in late and stuff. So road to 300, yay! That's probably gonna take us another like 3, 4, 5 years, but yeah, let's get to 300. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this video. So I'll see you guys next week for the Daytona closer of the regular season before the playoffs. So see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. This is NASCAR Mobile 48. Peace out.